What inspired you to make this film?
My kids, 150%. I'm watching my girls go to this magical world that we're not invited to as parents. They didn't think any of this was funny. There is a tree in the corner of the room that's talking to us. Why can't you see it?
If the animated comedy about imaginary friends is a heartwarming family fantasy written and directed by Krasinski in partnership with Paramount. The movie boasts a stellar cast, including Ryan Reynolds, Emily Blunt and Matt Damon, and follows a girl who starts to see everyone's imaginary friends left behind as they go into the adult world.
Kaylee, I just wonder what you think kids are going to love about this film.
I think they'll love the entire thing. I mean, there's so many magical moments in it, obviously the ifs. But then you have like Coney Island and you have like dancing numbers, so I think there's something for everyone.
John, where did the kind of idea for this come from? What inspired you to make this film?
My kids, 150%. I've always wanted to make a movie for my kids, but I didn't know exactly what avenue to take. And I was genuinely standing in a doorway for so long, all these years, watching my girls go to this magical world that we're not invited to as parents. And it wasn't just the joy on their face, it was the authenticity of seeing how themselves they were being. You know what I mean? They didn't think any of this was funny. There is a tree in the corner of the room that's talking to us. Why can't you see it? And I just thought that would be an amazing movie to make. And then it was actually in the pandemic when they started imagining a lot less, and they started asking real world questions, and fear was setting in, as it does for all of us. And they started asking questions like, are we gonna be okay? And I thought, that's it. I gotta write this movie right now and remind them that that magical world they created will always be there for them, and they can always go back, and they always have friends that have their back.
Yeah, definitely. That's really interesting, because I was going to ask you, the film doesn't shy away from the tough issues that Bea goes through with her parents' health and things like that. And why was it important for you to tell the story like that, to be so kind of, honest and open about those things?
Well, for me, it was the way I grew up watching movies, and I really wanted to, if we did this, I didn't want it to be just silly, fun, imaginary friends, which is great, and there's tons of that. I just think that for me, whether it was E.T. or Goonies or any of those movies, the reason why they impacted me so much is because I was given credit to be more than just a kid. I think that your school teachers or your parents or your friends or whatever used to tell you, well, you're just a kid, just be silly. And those movies really said, you're more than that. And you can handle these giant themes and you can handle these giant emotions. And I look back and I think, why was I crying so hard in E.T. the first time I saw it at age 8? And it was because of feeling love, not lost, but you felt love. You felt love for some character that you wanted to experience again and again and again. And so I just thought that's what we can pull off with this movie if we're lucky.
Yeah, completely. Thank you. And, at the heart of this film is a great lesson about kind of keeping hold of a bit of your childhood even as you grow up. And I just wondered what you both think is so great about that message and why it's important to share it.
I think it's super important. I mean, I think growing up is very scary. I don't know, especially I think about growing up all the time and like taxes and stuff. I don't want to do that, but it doesn't have to be scary.
I love that taxes are the villain in your
What even is
movie.
Taxes? Like, I don't even, that stresses me out
it's
so
something
bad.
with fangs and it comes after
I don't
you
want to
once
do
a
it.
year, sometimes twice.
See, so if I could do taxes with magic and imaginary friends next to me, it would be so much more fun.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's about hope. You know what I mean? I think the funny thing is we all think about kids are the only ones growing up, but we're all always growing up. We're always sort of progressing to this place that we don't know what's going to happen. And I think the best part is just go with the things that you created when you were the most ambitious, when you had the most high hopes, when you had all these dreams. That's where we should all be coming from when we go through our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely. And Kaylee, how was it working with Ryan? Obviously, you work quite closely in this, and you're so great together, that double act. But how was it for you working with him?
I loved working with Ryan. I think any day he was on set, I was probably falling out of my chair some more laughing at him. Obviously, he's hilarious, but he also, I got the chance to know him, which was very special, and he's very sweet. I think you'll get to see that more in this movie. He has a really big heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just one more for you, John. I wanted to ask you about the kind of animation side of things, because I thought all of the characters were so fantastic, all the ifs and the way they were brought to life. So could you tell me a little bit about the process of creating them and then bringing them to life?
Sure, yeah. As I was writing the script, I'm a horrible artist, but I was drawing these little sketches of each character because I knew in my head what I basically wanted them to look like. And then you go through this amazing process where you bring in professional artists who you get to bounce and collaborate with, and you say, like, because of this horrible drawing, what would you make it look like? And in doing so, that you get this really fun process where everybody gets brought to life. And then we had an amazing VFX house called Frame Store, and I had seen Frame Store do many, many things, one of which was Winnie the Pooh, that movie that was that just came out. It was Christopher Robin. And then, so I saw how they had used those characters, and I just thought, that's how I want to do it. Because I really prefer to shoot practically, so everything I shoot is really there. We did hardly any green screen at all. And so in order to do that, you have to have artists who are willing to be brave, because it's really hard for VFX people to drop their characters into real life situations without having green screen and things like that. And I had brave and courageous and extremely talented people working with me.